Okay, let's get started here. And Chad, very nice to meet you here. You new here? Want to welcome everyone here tonight. This is the Hit and Run Candlesticks / Right Way Options e-learning tonight, and I really want to welcome you here. I know you have other things you could be doing, like downtown in a parking lot shopping, maybe walking through Hobby Lobby. Not my favorite thing to do. Okay, so tonight, I know what the email said that we sent out, and we can certainly talk about the T-line a little bit. But honestly, Doug, that's scary. Yeah, Hobby Lobby. Doug, myself, and Ed, we got together today, and we were talking a little bit about a few things, and we have a different topic that we would like to share tonight. Now, believe me, doesn't mean that we won't look at charts. We are going to look at charts. At least I am. I can't say what Doug is going to do, and I can't really say what Ed is going to do. We didn't necessarily discuss what we're going to talk about exactly, but the theme will be basically the same. And I do apologize for anyone that logged in today looking for us to focus on the T-lines. I promise you we'll do that. The next time I'm up to bat, meaning next time I'm up to host the webinars on Tuesday night, I promise that's what we'll do. But tonight we're gonna talk about something else, and it's basically our story, because, well, yesterday was horrible in the market. Today was just as bad or even worse in some cases. And we just simply want to talk about our story and share a little something. So anyway, what I would like to do just for a moment, though, I have the SPY up, and I would like to talk about the SPY a little bit. Like I said, I'll look at charts, answer whatever questions I have. I'm going to say 15, 20 minutes, then I'm going to turn it over to either Doug or Ed. They'll have 15, 20 minutes, however it works out, and then the third person will take over. That's how much we really haven't talked to each other on exactly what we're going to say. We don't even know who's going to go second and third. So, but we'll figure it out in the backside here. All right, so let's talk about the SPY a little bit. And I'm going to go to a different chart. And one of the things that we talked about here a while, last week I think I mentioned that I was buying some VXX just to buy it for no good reason. There was nothing about the chart. We'll go look at that chart in just a moment. We'll go look at that chart, and you'll see that there was really no good reason to buy it, but I did. And here's why. Because as I started to look at the SPY, and it is clearly in a bullish trend right there. Okay, everything above that line is clearly in a bullish trend. Well, you start looking at the SPY, and a couple things makes me a little nervous, and that's the distance between that line and, say, the 34 EMA, and the distance between that line and the 50-day simple. You go back and look at the chart, where is it ever this far? Oh, and you can find it, you sure can. But when it is, what happens is it starts moving down. Now, I can't say what percentage is some magic number. I can't say. I don't think there is a magic number, really. We just start getting a little too run out over here, up too far, a little overzealous, and we have to have a little correction. Well, I started seeing that, and I started buying some VXX. Well, as we came in here, we get these 3 gaps up at the end, and then we get a candle down here. And watching price action is so important. We start seeing this right here, and then yesterday, when we started caving in, that would have been a good sign to start cutting some of your weaker charts, maybe taking profits on charts that you had profits on. And then, of course, today, hindsight is a wonderful thing. Today, you wished you would have done everything just like that. Unfortunately, not everything goes that way. So here is where I'd like to start with my story. I started trading 31 or so years ago. I have lost more money than I care to even mention. I mean, a lot of money. And most of it was the first few years because I was too stubborn to get out of losing trades, admit to myself that I was wrong, take the loss early, or take profits on a regular basis. Well, what I'm trying to say is when we start out trading, it's it's not like starting a job where you go to work. There's an employee handbook maybe, and this is your task. This is your job today. I mean, it may be stocking shelves. It may be putting price tags on product, anything like that. Pretty straightforward, pretty simple, pretty mind-numbing, actually. In many cases. In some cases, it's not. I don't mean to well, I hope everyone understands. Where trading is one of those things that it takes some education, and it takes more than a week. Unfortunately, I'm sorry, it does. It might even take a year. Oh my, how can I afford to trade for a year? Simple. Don't make any money. I tell a lot of people this. Stop making money. Stop trying to make money. And that's a tough concept to grasp. It is, because Wesley, you're the last person I see here, so I'm going to use you as an example, okay? So Wesley says to himself, why would I want to stop making money? I started trading a month ago, which I don't think that's true. Like I said, I'm just using your name. So Wesley started trading a month ago. I don't want to pay for, and I'll talk about me. I don't want to pay for TC2000. I don't want to pay for Trade Hawk. I don't want to pay for the scanner. I don't want to pay $200 a month or $300 a month and not make any money. Well, unfortunately, that's what happens sometimes. It takes time to learn how to trade. And if you don't make money, if you try not to make money, what happens is you actually learn how to read charts and understand trading. But when we get to a point where we feel like we have to make money, we have to cover our $200 a month or $300 a month. Plus, we have to make $1,000 a month. I'm just making numbers up, okay? That is a crazy amount of pressure on any one person. You're trying to follow price action. You're trying to follow the indicators you might have on the charts. You might be trying to follow your support, resistance. You might be trying to follow Twitter, CNBC. By the way, you should turn that stuff off. You might be following news. Turn that off. I don't even have a television in my office. I refuse to. I don't want to know any of that news. So anyway, I don't want to digress too much there. So the first few years, I totally lost money, and I did not. I couldn't even come close to making money for a living. Couldn't even come close. I didn't really start making money till I lost more than I could stand. And finally, I had to have a come to Jesus meeting with myself. I really did. I had to figure this out. What do I really want to do this? Can I do this? Do people really make money stock trading? I mean, hey, that's a fair question, Well, I am sure happy that I stuck with it because it affords a lifestyle that is quite amazing. Once you nail it down, but nailing it down requires some serious study, and I don't mean study of charts, I mean study of yourself. Oh yeah, Steve, yeah, I bet your wife had something to say about that. Yeah, she did actually. I'm not going to get too much into that. But, you know, it- years ago, I used to do webinars and talk about building your own mousetrap. Um, even and back then, TC 2000, everybody was into writing code and finding scans and whatnot. Nowadays, we have live real-time scanners that do it for you. Um, but back then, when on the old DOS system, for those that go back far enough on TC 2000, that they were, old DOS system. And, you write this code, um, um, you find stocks, and everybody wanted to know, wanted to know the code to find this new fangled stock, and everybody wanted to know stock pick. I was in the same boat. Um, hey, whose stock pick am I going to follow today? Well, I discovered that once I started creating my own mousetrap, even writing the code, if somebody gave me the code to a particular chart pattern, I found that and rather than copy and paste it, if I actually wrote the code, in other words, copied it, the close today greater than blah, 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 and on and on and on and on. But if I actually wrote it down and put it in TC 2000 the way you do, and if I took each piece and understood, in other words, say the close today greater than um, the high yesterday, maybe. Well, what does that mean? And I once I started to do that, create my and I like I said, I used to do webinars on creating your own mousetrap. You may be using someone else's mousetrap. I mean, there's very few mousetraps out there that are new. Believe me, there's no newfangled indicator or anything. There's really not. It's the same old stuff, just redone, rehashed, renamed. But if you just take the time um, and study that, that's creating your own mousetrap. The power of that is you'll understand how this chart, whether this be the SPY or whether it be Facebook or Amazon or whatever you trade, doesn't matter the price. Don't pay attention to the price over here. It's got nothing to do with the chart. It could be a $2 stock, it could be a $300 stock. But when you start understanding um, your mousetrap, then what happens is you start understanding how this chart got there, and you start understanding how the last 2 days are very possible. And once that is taken in, then what that does is that would help you, or help you traders, anybody, myself included, to get rid of stocks that aren't working. Take that small loss. I often say, when is, whoops, wrong color. Let's try this again. There we go. When is $100 loss the best trade of the day? Well, when you finally take the $500 loss. When you finally take the $500 loss, that right there is the best trade of the day. And you know what? You didn't make any money, did you? There's not a trader on earth that makes money every day. Now, despite what you might hear or read from emails, which sounds like, good Lord, make more money than you can possibly count. That's just not true. No trader makes money every single day. It's about managing your account is what it is. And that's part of creating your own mousetrap. And I know myself, um, Doug, Ed, Right Way Options, Steve are all willing to help with that. Um, So I want you to know I'm talking tonight without any notes. I'm just trying to share my story and trying to put a little charting in here at the same time. Um, so I want to back up now a little bit. If 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 I hadn't, if I would have kept the job that I was at, um, admittedly, I would have had a better insurance policy. Um, thank goodness my wife works because we have insurance. So you do have to figure that out, when you want to be a trader. But once you figure that out, then you can create a lifestyle. Once you get over that hump, you can have a lifestyle that is freedom, not riches, not millions of dollars. I told a person here, this is a few years ago. I said, look, you're not going to get rich trading stocks. Oh man, that flat ticked them off. I mean, it ticked them off. They quit because I said you're not going to get rich. I didn't mean this person personally wasn't going to get rich. I'm saying this to everybody. You're not going to get rich. The odds are you're not going to get rich. Newsflash, making $50,000 a year is not getting rich. It could be a good income for some folks. $100,000 a year. You're not going to get rich at that, but that is a very good income. $200,000 a year. You're still not going to get rich, but that is a pretty doggone nice income. And it affords you a lifestyle. I'm going to tell you something here. For those that don't know, for the past, well, not this month anyway, but a couple months ago, I was uh, um, detained. I was in the hospital, and um, the last month, I made money. I sat with a little 10-inch computer screen, and in the hospital, I made money trading stocks. The reason I'm telling you that is because once you get over the hump and once you get over the hump and you have that come to Jesus meeting with yourself, you'll find you can be sitting in a hospital bed making money. You could be on the golf course. Now, I'm not a big fan of trading from your phone. I'm really, really not. In fact, I almost refuse to talk to people that trade from your phone. If I find that out, I probably get in front of a computer, then we'll talk, okay? But what the phone is good for is you could be on the golf course. The other three guys from your foursome or gals, they could be up. You could be on your phone looking at this and saying, hey, I just made $1,000 on VXX. Maybe I should sell right there. Absolutely. Absolutely. But, for charting and things like that, I'm not going to get into it, but charting and stuff like that, I say I don't think the phone is that great. But for things like for being out there on the golf course or being at your favorite fishing hole, being at your favorite drinking hole for that matter, which I don't suggest drinking and trading. The point is it creates a lifestyle where you can be anywhere you want and you can trade. I have a little, I forget what it's called, Microsoft, and little computer. And from there, I can bring up every program that I use. I can be anywhere in the world as long as I have internet. And when I don't have internet, as long as my phone, there we go, the phone, as long as my phone works, I can make my phone into a hotspot. I can make my computer talk to my phone, and I can trade. What job can you do that with? There is no job. But I had to pay my dues. I lost a ridiculous amount of money till I had that come to Jesus meeting. And I remember it to this day. I was on the front porch. I lived in Fairbanks, Alaska at the time, and I had tears on my eyes. I wanted to trade so bad, but I've lost so much money. Does it even work? I'm here to tell you. Now, I would probably have to go back and look at the exact date, but 4 years, maybe 5 years. Keep in mind that I didn't have the help that so many people have right now. And I think we hit and run candlesticks right way options. I think we have a fantastic um, service. I think there's other good services out there as well. I'm not here to bash anybody. I think there's a lot of good services out there. You get out of them what you learn what you can, and and but somewhere along the lines you've got to decide that you've got to follow the rules in a chart, and there's not that many rules. A lot of people, they want to trade for a month and it doesn't work, so they go do something else. Trading is not a get rich scheme. It's really not. It's some of the hardest work you'll ever do in your life. It is the most rewarding work you will do outside of maybe saving somebody's life, things like that. You can do it anywhere you want. Okay, so with that said, I don't want to chew up any time. I'll try to answer any questions that anyone wants to throw at me here. I'll try to answer anything. If you want to look at a quick chart, just a couple of minutes, and then I'm going to turn it over to Doug or Ed. I don't know who is up next, but I hope they share their story. And I want you to know that I did not make money the first, say, 4 years, maybe even 5 years. I'll have to go look. So, Coach, hi, I'm feeling good. Thank you. Elizabeth, man, Elizabeth, we go back, don't we? Let's see. Any chart questions? Have you made what you lost back in spades? Yes, MT, I have. And I am so thankful that I finally came to that decision to try trading again, but trade it with but do it with a different outlook. And at the time, there's things I didn't realize I was doing. One, I'm telling you right now, what I did, but I did not know it at the time. I stopped trading to make money. I truly did. I also learned to build my own mousetrap. Now, we can talk about that another night, which I think I could talk a while about that. So, but I do feel that if you're struggling, if you stop trying to make money and just trade, here's another, and I'm sorry, Doug, Ed, if I'm moving into your territory, I'm sorry, or time. Here, let's do this. Let me move this over. Let's do a little math. Now, what does education cost? I don't know. What does it cost? What does college cost? I don't know. 30,000? I don't know. 100,000? I guess it depends what you're doing, right? I don't know. Why would anyone think that the education to stock trading is free? And I'm not saying anyone here is thinking that. I'm not saying that at all. But there's a cost. What if it cost you $250 a month? Again, I'm just guessing. I don't know what programs everyone uses. I don't know. So it costs you $250 a month. Every month you lose $250. Like clockwork. You're done. $250. Chunk it away. Hey, that's what it takes sometimes. Let's go back to SPY here. And I'm going to go to this chart. Here's what happens, and then I'm gonna step away, let Doug or Ed take over. Here's what happens. You lose money. You lose money right here. And then what happens, you feel like you have to work twice as hard to make the money back. Should have got that little tool. You work twice as hard to make the money back. And you know what happens? You end up losing more money. Because desperation starts to set in. Charting is out the window. What the heck is charting? Desperation just sets in. You just lost $500. Desperation sets in. Hey, I've been there. I'm still there. I'm not. Believe me. Believe me. I still make mistakes there. Jay, okay, I'll talk about that real quick. I'm going to talk about a trade that I took today. Today. Or I guess I got to do it this way. All right, there we go. I took this trade today. There we are. So I took DXC toward the end of the day because it was a rounded bottom breakout. Rounded bottom breakout is simply, it's really, really simple, and let's not overcomplicate it. It's a stock that's been in a downtrend. It's been in a downtrend, you can clearly see, because the 34 is underneath the 50, the 50's underneath the 200. Been in a downtrend. I want at least 10% between price, wherever price is, whether it be down here or whether it be right here, up to the 200. Because the trade is only, no matter what, the trade is from there to there. Now, I'm going to do this, just see how the 200 slanted, so the trade is from here to here. I mean, we could do it over here. The trade's from here to here. It's from wherever you buy it to the 200. So if you buy it on the 50 or you buy it right here, the 200 is the trade. That's it. That's simply the trade. And that is it right there. And by the way, I think this is one of the most money-making trades there is. I absolutely do. Let's look at another one. I took, which, wait a minute, this is not, yeah, this is not an RVB, never mind. DXC, let's go back to that. So I took this trade because of, not only because of the setup here, but because of the nice rounded bottom, because of the gap up, the bull kicker gap up, and the consolidation it made, and the piercing candle that it ended up making. Some might even say, well, isn't that a belt hold? Nah, it's a small one. But it absolutely is a bullish piercing candle. So my stop loss is right there. You know, ask yourself a couple simple questions. Why do you like this chart? So, well, let me ask myself, Rick, why do you like this chart? I just told, okay? I like it because of this rounded bottom. I like it because of that little kicker up. I like it because of the consolidation. And although I've been watching it, what made me like it the most was today's piercing candle on some pretty good volume. So if I like it because of today's piercing candle, where would I not like it? Where would I not like it? I would not like it if today's candle was negated. I would not like it. All right. Now, one other thing we have to consider, and I'll show you a quick chart. Well, maybe I don't know a chart actually. One thing we want to consider is how much has that been up today? 5.5%. Believe me, I struggled with this, but I went ahead and took it. That's almost too much. Almost too much. As good as the trade is, or I think it is, as good as that candle is, what you've got to be careful of is, are you willing to work with a 6-7% stop, maybe 6.5% stop, something like that? Are you willing to work with that? So you've got to ask yourself those questions. All right. Okay. All righty. Um, Doug, Ed, I'm not sure who's next. I'll drop my chart. I want to say thank you to everybody. I appreciate it. I hope everyone understands the what could be the power of today's presentation. And I know that Doug and I know that Ed are going to speak from their hearts. I know that. I am speaking from my heart as a trader. It was not easy starting out, and it takes a while. It does. Save yourself a ton of money. Don't trade to make money if you're struggling. Learn how to trade first. Learn how to trade first. Okay. I'm not sure who has their chart up or screen up, but if Ed or Doug, I'll quit talking as soon as I hear you.
I got it, Doug. Or Rick, thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, guys. This is Ed, and Rick just asked me to talk this afternoon, but those of you who know me know that I am, well, I've got a friend that calls me nth degree, so I couldn't just start talking and hope I capture things, so I threw together a few notes, and we'll just work off of that. I hope that works for everybody. But basically what I want to talk about is the same thing Rick was talking about, and that's getting past bad days, losses, or streaks, blowing your account out. Because if you're a trader and you haven't done this, I don't think you're really a trader yet. But you will have these problems. So I've been there, and as I said, I think everybody's been there. It happens. You are going to have losses. You are going to have losing streaks. You may blow out your account. I know most of the old-time traders that I know have done it more than once. I've personally blown out my account more than once. And yeah, I can identify with the despair moment that Rick talked about. It happened to me a couple times in the early 2000s. And you have that come to Jesus meeting, as you say, and you have to decide, do I really want to do it? But as I said, there are going to be losses. There are going to be days like today. And it's like anything else in life. There will be tough times. Anybody who tells you different is lying to you, flat out. All those emails you get about 1,000 trades in a row, they're all winners, about making, 5,000% next month. It's bull. That's the long and short of it. That's all there is. So these things are going to happen, and what's going to make the difference to whether you can stick, whether you can make a go of it, and that's true with trading, it's true with anything, is how you can handle the problems, how you handle the emotions. All of our troubles as traders are between our ears. And that's what makes all the difference. You need to start thinking about this not as a lottery ticket, but start thinking about this as a long-term thing. And the formula that you probably heard someplace else, maybe motivational speaker or whatever, but the formula is E plus R equals O. And that is, events are going to happen. You can't stop the president from putting out a stupid tweet. You cannot stop one government from putting tariffs on another government, or a war happening someplace, or whatever it is. Events are going to happen that are going to cause problems. And it's your response, the R, how you respond to these things, that determines the outcome. It's not the event that determines the outcome. It's how you respond to it, how you prepared for it, how you work through it. And now let's talk about some of the things that I've learned that helped me make the turning point for myself. And that's basically all I can tell you. The first thing that I learned is I'm not special. Frankly, I don't think there is anybody that's special. There's 7.5 billion, 8 billion people on this earth, and you peel the skin off of us and we're all the same. We've all got the same tools. So I'm not special, but I can be very good. My dad told me when I was 18 that you might be smart, but you're not smarter than everybody. Somebody out there's smarter. You're certainly not, one thing that I've learned is I'm certainly not smarter than the rest of the market combined. You just can't outthink it. That's the way it is. I'm not more experienced than somebody else. There will be people out there that are more experienced, and the overall market's experience will always exceed yours just by definition. Those things are out of my control. I've got the IQ I've got to work with. I've got the experience that I've got to work with. I can add to it, but I'm never going to be more experienced than the market. What I can control is how I work and how hard I work. And those are things that I will not be beaten at. I will focus on the process, and I will outwork everybody that I know. And that's, there are people that work as hard as me. Nobody will work harder than me on honing the skill and working towards it. And that's because it's important to me. We'll talk about that in just a minute. But it really comes down to thinking about this as a long-term endeavor. This is a career. And nobody ever got good at any career in, like Rick said, in a month. Nobody ever got good at any career working at it as I'll put in 15 minutes a day. That the emails you get about 5 minutes a day or 5 minutes a week, don't even open those. Chuck them. They're trying to sell you lottery tickets. This is a career, and you can make a success of it, but you have to treat it as a career the same way you would if you took a job as an engineer or an accountant or a doctor or a carpenter or a janitor. You have to treat it in a professional way. You have to focus on the things that you need to do, the order you need to do them in, and how you need to do them. And then you need to work hard at getting better at it. Yeah, that's right, John. The old saying, the harder I work, the luckier I get. It's absolute truth. Something else that I figured out, and I think we all realize this at some point in our life, but everything is perspective. Perspective is everything. When you were a kid, everything was the end of the world. Whether or not you got the date that you wanted, whether or not you got the raise that you were looking for, or the grade that you were looking for in a class, it was the end of the world if you didn't get what you wanted. And what I found is that you've got to step back. You've got to have a bigger perspective. Don't focus on the result of any trade. That's kind of what Rick talked about, stop trying to make money. Don't focus on the result of the trade or the result of your streak or how I've done this month. What needs to be the focus, what you need to focus on is your process. The tools that you use, the steps that you go through for every trade, the rules that you use. You need to keep refining that process, keep improving that process so that it's basically impossible for you to make a bad trade. Focusing on the process. And then the next thing you focus on is the trend. The trend of improving the process, the trend of improving your results by tweaking the process. Not by picking the bottom, not by picking a top, not by luck or chance or a new whiz-bang indicator, but by focusing on the process that you use, the rules that you use, and working those things. As I said, this is a career, and you need to work it consistently, take little money, not look for that 15,000% trade that's going to make you rich. As Rick said, you're not going to get rich. You can make a great living, but you're not going to get rich. Stop thinking about it in those terms. None of us are going to make that trade and sign off with Warren Buffett money. It's just not happening. So as I said, trading's a job, and so we need to treat it like one. We need to start out with realistic expectations, and that includes what the results will be and how long it will take us to get there. Don't expect to be profitable your first month, your first 6 months, your first year. You're still learning your job. That's why doctors have residencies. That's why lawyers are not lead counsels the day they get out of college. You need to have realistic expectations that you're going to learn. This is a career. This is not getting rich quick. And then I think all of us here, we've got a leg up, but we need to realize that we're not, like I said, we're not special. We're not that person who doesn't need any help. So get yourself some help. Find a community like, Hit and Run or Right Way or whatever it is. Find that community where people can help you, teach you, help you improve yourselves. Get a coach. Find a trading partner. Whatever it is, get the help you need to give yourself a little more perspective, to help yourself focus on the process and continue to hone your rules. And then you need to work a consistent, standardized process. You keep hearing me say that same word, and I've said it about 1,000,000 times in this community. Every successful company has well-defined, consistent, standard processes. There have been entire consulting industries built out of it. The quality movement, the Six Sigma movement, the idea of consistently, in a very rigorous, regimented way, improving the steps you do. When I was in consulting, there was, entire events. They would spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to move a machine a foot, one direction. Why? Because that's going to save them, 1/100th of a second every day. It's the same thing in trading. You need to improve your processes and your rules and continue to work that same method so that every trade you do is identical. You've always got to stop. You've always got to target. You always know the reward to risk. You always know how much of your account is at risk, and you only trade within your rules. If it's, Rick talked about, he almost didn't take a trade because it was up a little bit too much today. Now, he did decide to take it because it passed his rule, but he knew that was something that he should be leery of. These are the things you need to build into your process. And then, the same thing Rick talked about, practice makes perfect. You are not going to learn something. It's not going to become regimented in you the first day, the first week, the first month, maybe the first year. But if you do the same things exactly the same way, over and over and over again, you'll be able to trade as Rick talked about that rounded bottom breakout that somebody mentioned earlier. You'll be able to trade. Every time you see that, you'll instantly recognize it. You'll instantly know where your stop would be. You'll instantly know where your target is. You'll instantly know what price action is showing you that it's time to enter, and so forth. That only comes through repeated over and over again practice by yourself. As Rick said, building your own mousetrap. Learning to do it yourself, not waiting for somebody to hand you, buy this now, and then later sell that then. That's a sure way to failure. You need to do it so that you know exactly what's going on, why you're doing it, when you're doing it, how you're doing it, and so forth. And then I guess this is the last slide, and then I'll get out of your hair here. But another thing that I've learned is you need to know when to focus on something else. As I said, we're not going to be able to stop events from happening. There could be tweets, there could be news items. You could have been in a Google trade tonight and the CEOs both resigned. Those things are going to happen. And there are going to be days like today, days like yesterday, where the market's terrible. And you need to know, part of your process needs to be figuring out there's days that it just doesn't pay to trade. It's too choppy, too volatile, whatever it is. It's the market's just acting irrational. Those are days you need to just not trade. The idea is not to do as many trades as you can. The idea is to do good trades in a good processed way, and do that only when it is to your advantage. So an untested system or a setup, a new pattern, whatever it is, if it's untested, if you haven't practiced the heck out of it so that you could see it in your sleep and know exactly how to trade it in your sleep, it's not ready, and you're not ready, to put your money at risk. That's what it comes down to. You cannot just come into trading and say, okay, now day one I'm going to start making these big bets with a huge chunk of my whatever, my retirement funds, my net worth, whatever it is. That's not how it works. You might as well go to Vegas and just throw it all on black 17 and roll the little ball. See what happens. You'll go broke just as fast. You'll have a little bit of fun. You get free drinks. So you need to learn that something that's untested, unpracticed, unproven is simply not ready. And then everybody, and I mean everybody, I don't care how much of a machine you are, you need a break sometimes. You need to know, as Rick's talked about before, I need to get up and go for a walk. Go walk the dog, go read a book, whatever it is. You need to step back at times, and you need to learn to recognize those times, and that too has to be part of your process. If you have the right perspective, and you have that long-term focus, you'll realize that you don't make your money by trading 1,000 times a day. You make your money by making good trades when they present themselves, and you don't have to trade every day. You don't have to trade every hour. There are times it's just best to walk away. And lastly, I've said it over and over again, you need to invest your time, your money, in the education and analysis of your trading and of your process, even when you're well learned and experienced as a trader. At the end of the week, you need to look at your trades, analyze what you did, what mistakes did you make, how could you improve it, how could you do it better. That has to be part of the work. It's just part of the job. If you're not getting better, you're getting worse. There's no such thing as standing still. And so, focus your time and your energy, and put your money in it. Stop a day of trading if you have to focus on analyzing what you do and how you do it and getting better at it. And that's it, guys. That's all that I wanted to talk about. As I said, we really didn't talk about this till this afternoon, but I did throw together my thoughts, and I hope that helped. If there's anything I can answer, I will. Otherwise, I'll let you get to Doug, and I'm sure he's going to have some good things for us. Okay, well, you're more than welcome, guys. Let me drop my camera here. Okay, Doug, it's all yours.
Hey, good evening, everyone. Everybody hear me out there? Hey, I want to say thanks to both Rick and Ed for doing this. You know, what I hope you hear from these two guys, and what I hope you hear from me, is that we're just like you. We have my personal story is very similar. You guys know that I trade so similar to Ed. I'm such a believer in the detailed work, in the plan, putting things together, finding those trades, analyzing the risk, reviewing my past trades, going through, trying to improve myself every day as a trader. And it really encompasses everything in my business. And you guys have heard me say this many times before. Trading is a business. And if you're treating it as anything other than that, you're making a major mistake. Okay? So I'm not going to repeat some of those things that everyone else is saying. I've done man, oh man. Rick said it took him a few years. I'm a little jealous of that because it probably took me 9+ years to actually get to the place where I felt like I was turning a corner and making a difference. And that's no joke, because what you guys probably know about me is I'm pretty hard-headed, I'm pretty darn stubborn. And I had a big chip on my shoulder. When I first learned this stuff, I learned candlestick trading, I went to the market, I thought, well, this has to be a secret. No one knows what I know. Watch me, I'll show you. And then when the market would show me I didn't know anything, I would argue with the market to just prove that I was right. And you guys can guess how that worked out for me. It didn't work at all. And so I would bang my head against the wall, bang my head against the wall. And here's the other thing that I would do. And I know this happens a lot, is there's people in this room that are in a lot of pain, but they try to come to the room and have bluster around a little bit. Oh, I got this wired. This is easy. I never lose money. Well, we all know that's not true. Okay, if you've been around trading for very long, you know everybody loses money, you know everybody has tough times, everybody has to go through these trials to be successful in trading. That's all there is to it. You see, I'm going to take this story just a little bit different. You know, my story is pretty much the same. I struggled. I've had to have that grown-up conversation, not only with myself, but with my wife, on how much money I'd lost. And how I would still believe that I could do this if I could just change. Now, I know today there were folks considering, you know, they're so fed up, they're so tired of this, that they just want to pull up stakes and call it good. Well, my conversation to kind of finish up tonight is what that might cost you. You know, we all invest a lot of time in this, and when you invest in a business, it really is a never-ending investment. Anybody that's ever been in business, just type in a Y if you agree. Once you're in business, you're always reinvesting in your business. You're reinvesting in your equipment, your people, yourself, your techniques, everything. You're constantly, it's a never-ending investment. You're always working to advance and to grow and to be better. And you know, the thing is about real successful businesses, real successful people in businesses. Now, I'm going to say this about small business owners because I don't know a lot of great big business owners, the corporate type of folks, but the folks that really put their own money in and invest in a business, Almost all of those folks, after a period of time, have lost the ego completely. There's no ego left. They burned that up several years ago, scraping things together, just trying to keep things going. There's no ego left. And there really can be no ego in this business. Well then, Gordon, you're in good company, because I was a real slow learner. And John, really good company. It just, I don't know, I struggled a long time with it. And really most of it was my personality. To tell you the truth, as a contractor, you're always kind of that macho, hey, I'm out building every day. Look what I built. Running multiple crews, keeping a business going, all the different things that you do as a business owner. And when I came to the market with the idea that I'd been successful in business. My construction business was going very well. I had grown. I was comfortable, but I knew it wasn't going to be something that I could do forever, because it has definite health problems associated with working that hard, that heavy for that long. And I was already experiencing that, in my 30s, that I was really starting to notice back problems, shoulder problems, different things like that, because I pushed so hard in growing my business. So I came to that point in the road at one time where I was going to quit my trading. I was frustrated. I was upset. I wasn't getting it. And more importantly, it was kind of embarrassing. I've been successful at pretty much everything else that I'd ever done, because I had that work ethic that Ed talked about. I would just dig in and work harder than anybody else around me, so that I could get it down, so I could figure it out, so I could prove to myself that I could do these things. Okay? And when I was getting ready to quit my trading, and by the way, this is honestly a little bit emotional for me, because I came so close to giving up on this dream and literally trapping myself in the life that I had. The life that was out the door at 4:30 every morning so you could be at the job site by 5. Working through 7, 8 o'clock at night, and then coming home to write bids and put together payrolls and do the things I had to do so I could get up the next morning and do it again. I came so close to walking away from my dream of being able to trade for a living. I mean, you guys don't know how close I came to just giving it up. And if I have anything to share here tonight, it's that perseverance. When you quit on something, it almost becomes a habitual thing, right? We quit this and then we quit that, and well, that doesn't work and I don't like that, so I quit that and I quit this, and it becomes a lifestyle. It becomes a habit. And I didn't want to be that guy. I wanted to fess up to my weaknesses, my problems that I had in trading, and I wanted to fix them. I wanted to show myself that I could do this. So it took quite a little bit of convincing of myself, more than anything than it did my wife, that I was going to reinvest myself into this business. And let me tell you, it was I picked up the knowledge. I understood indicators. Man, I had every indicator in the book. Um, I could write code. I could do all of these things. So it wasn't a matter of education. Education was important. I needed all of that information. But for me, my problem was my cavalier attitude toward trading. And I realized that finally that I wasn't treating my trading as a business. I was giving lip service to it. You put me in a party with friends or something like that, and I even made it sound really good. Kind of convinced myself that I was better than I was. When I refocused myself into my trading and got serious about it and got serious about this as a business, that's when things started to change, because that's where all of those things that I knew that I was supposed to do, have a set of rules, follow a plan, develop the discipline to stay with those rules, and not trying to be a hero. That's what I call it. You may call it something else. You know, you see those people all over Facebook, all over Twitter, all over, and I'm telling you, I know for a fact that most of them are probably closer to living in their mother's basement than they are making it in trading. Those people that blow and just on and on and on about how great they are, guys, if trading were that easy, there'd be no money in trading. The reason we make money in trading is because someone else loses. Okay? That's the business of trading. And all of these folks out there just blowing hard that they're the greatest traders in the world are just showing their hand that they're scared little guys, still haven't grown up enough to understand that all they really have to do is settle down into a business plan, focus on that plan, and repeat the same pattern over and over and over. My success story began when I decided to give up all of this garbage. And I decided to take a very simple strategy. In fact, I talked a lot about it today. That very simple strategy where I quit trying to swing and hit home run trades. It wasn't about I got out of this whole idea that I was the greatest guy in the world when it came to trading. I was God's great gift to trading, because that's just crap. And I buckled down to doing the job of a trader. And honestly, the job of a trader is pretty darn boring. You do the same thing over and over. It's the same trade setup, the same strategy setup. You repeat it over and over and over. And I got out of this idea that I was going to get rich quick and started working toward consistency. Because it finally dawned on me that if I could just take small pieces of money out of the market and just keep doing that repeatedly, I took less risk and I actually grew my account. I quit trying to be the guy that's always trying to, promote that, hey, I just made $1 gazillion on this trade. I just wanted the consistency, because my bills come every month consistently. I had a certain amount that I had to cover every month and hopefully make a profit beyond that so I could live, do the things I wanted to do. So I had to focus on the minute details. How do I go from point A to point B? And I really translate that back to my work with, you get handed a a 4,000 square foot custom home. Get handed the plan. It's almost overwhelming. You can let it be overwhelming when you think about all the details that you have to cover to finish, go from, opening up a hole to handing the owner the keys of that house. It's overwhelming, the steps and the number of things that you have to do. But what I learned in that business is if I just focused on one thing at a time, this step, complete this step, and then this step comes next, and that step comes next, and you take it all in bite-sized pieces, building a house is pretty easy. You just repeat the process over and over. It's the same thing. May have a different style, may have a little bit different finish, may have a little bit different decoration, but it's the same process all the way through. When I applied that same process to my trading and I got simple, I worked for that consistency. And it changed my life. Okay. I started to see growth. I started to see my account coming up. I started to gain confidence in what I was doing. And, probably more importantly, is I learned to trust myself. I didn't need someone telling me what was a good trade, what wasn't a good trade. I could shut off all of that news and all of that noise and all of those things and Uncle John, giving me the hot tip. But I could shut all that off and just look at a chart and tell you whether that trade was my trade or it wasn't. Now, all of these years, fast forward, almost 30 years now, fast forward, and I've been able to build a career doing some very, very simple things and just repeating the steps, the process that Ed talked about, just repeating that process over and over and over and over. And I think about what I would have lost had I quit and given up on myself. And how grateful I am that I stuck it out. That I got past the ego, that I got past the baloney, and I became the trader that I wanted to be. Everyone in this room has the capability of doing that. Everyone. Believe me, Ed said, there's nothing special about him. Believe me, there's nothing special about me. I'm just like every other person out there. When I take a trade, unsure whether it's going to win or not. But what I am is confident in my plan, my setup, and my strategy. It fails from time to time, but it wins more often than not. And it's because of that repetitiveness, I've gotten better and better and better at doing the same thing over and over and over. Now, I hope that means something to you guys, that you never know when you give up on yourself what you actually gave up. The life that you may have had you not persevered and just sucked it up and said, hey, look, I'm screwing this up. And guys, it's really that easy. For a lot of us guys out there, it's pretty easy for women to do this, but for a lot of guys, it's really hard to say, man, this is all on me. I'm screwing this up every single day. I'm not putting in the time. I'm not putting into the effort. I'm trying to get somebody to give stuff to me. Just give me something so I can make money on it. I'm giving all of these rules that I know are important. I'm giving them lip service. I'm not following through. But guys, I honestly believe each and every one of you can be here. Each and every one of you can have that dream. Now, it's always going to be something different. Somebody has a different dream than I have. But we can choose our destiny in the marketplace. And I really want to encourage you not to give up on yourself. Because had I given up on myself all those years ago, I would have been a broken down, probably broke old man way before my time. Most likely out of business because just not able to keep up with the young guys anymore. And then I don't know what I would be doing. I didn't know anything else. Don't give up on yourself. Be willing to fess up and say, I'm messing this up. If you've got the guts and the nerve to say, look, I'm screwing this up, I need to change, then you're putting yourself on the path of success in this business. And I know that's hard to say. And I know that's hard to admit. But when you do, it changes everything. See, there's no shame, guys, in being wrong. There's no shame in failure unless you quit. Don't give up on yourself. Don't give up on that dream. Now, I'll be the first to tell you that this business isn't for everyone, and some folks they find out this is just not for them. They don't like the risk. Just being in business for themselves doesn't really fit. And I get that. There's no shame in that. But if you're that person that really has that burning desire to gain the flexibility, the freedom of trading for a living, you know how lucky I feel every day to get up. I get up, you guys know I'm up really early. But that doesn't even bother me. To get up, walk across my house and I'm at work. I got to tell you, I feel like I'm one of those people that, well, I'm just so grateful that I get to do this for a living. So while I'm rambling on here, hope you guys got something out of that. I hope that meant something to you. Don't give up on yourself. If you have that burning desire, if I can do it, you can do it. If Ed can do it, you can do it. If Rick can do it, you can do it. We're just a bunch of goofy nerds, to tell you the truth, with a desire to be the best we can be at what we do. And an attitude that we will give up. We will surrender ourselves to our rules and our guidelines and our focus and those kind of things, we will give up the ego. And honestly, guys, you're going to find tremendous freedom in that. How many in here feel very stressed every day in the trading? When you make that turn, there's no stress in it. There's no stress in the business. Because it's the same operation that you've done 1,000 times and 1,000 times before that. Don't give up on yourself. Dig in, fess up. Fess up. Knock the chip off your shoulder and get back to work. Thanks for listening to that. Sorry, I got kind of wound up there. Thanks everyone for being here tonight. I truly, truly appreciate it. I know Rick appreciates it, Ed appreciates it, and I hope you guys got something out of this, that we are no different than you are. You can do this. I believe in you. Never be ashamed to ask for help. Ask the question. Never be ashamed of that. Okay? Ask the question. Understand the trade that you're in. If you don't understand the trade, guys, don't take the trade. Don't take it. Make sure you understand it, that that's your trade, that you make that your trade. Okay? Everyone take care. Have a great evening. Thanks a ton for being here. I wish you all the best. Hopefully we gave you something really great to think about tonight. All right. Thanks, guys. Take care of yourselves. Ed, I didn't record this. I don't know who's recording this. I'm going to go ahead and kick the mic off. I don't know, Rick, if you were going to come back to finish up or not, but okay, Ed's got the recording. Guys, take care of yourselves. Thank you very much. We'll talk to you all soon.